Kriega Bundalo. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and welcome to the library. I'm Tennessee Fats, and we're coming to you from here today because, well, I'm going to take you guys on a bit of a meandering path through the Tennessee Fats library, working on a pet project that, well, I've wanted to cover for quite some time. You saw the thumbnails. What brought you here? Today, you know, we are covering this issue of Heavy Metal magazine from all the way back in July of 2005. Now, many of you are going to say, Tennessee Fats, seriously? No, hear me out. There's a key word on that cover that we need to pay attention to, and that word is Darkwatch. Now, Darkwatch, for those of you who don't know, is a really cool piece of video game IP that came out in the early 2000s. It was meant to be really a kicking off point for a whole series of things, but unfortunately they never came to fruition. I never got a chance to play the original game, but I always thought the concept was particularly cool. So when I saw this magazine as something I could add to my Heavy Metal Kickstarter when I was checking out, I didn't waste much time. We made sure this came to the Casa del Fats lickety-split. So I finished reading it. Today we're going to dive through what is Darkwatch, what's within this magazine, and what's the story that I could find just in the overall picture as somebody who never played it. Maybe you guys, after watching this video, are going to want to go get your hands on that original game and actually give her a go. The next thing we're going to do is because, well, we have a whole issue of Heavy Metal here. I want to show you guys something really cool I found in here that, well, it's tied to an artist we particularly like on this channel. Then we'll come back and wrap this bad boy up with, well, Tennessee Fats, what did you think of the overall issue? Forgetting the Darkwatch, setting it aside, is this something that somebody might want to pick up? Now, I'll tell you, there's going to be a quick answer and a long answer when we get there, so just be prepared. Now, without any further ado, let's turn the camera around, get over to the desk, and let's walk through Darkwatch. What the heck is this thing? Okay, let's get over to the desk and let's get recording into the actual content on this one. So we're doing this in a take two. Now you're going to say, Tennessee Fats, why is it a take two? Well, I recorded all the original video for this on that snow day we had, which I mentioned in the intro. And when I went to edit it, unfortunately the lighting was so bad because it was so dark. It looked horrible. So here we are sitting back at the desk. We're doing a take two on this one because, well, it's a lot brighter today. So why not just get this done? So let's do this in two parts. So we'll first talk about the administration behind this. What happened here? And then we'll go into what's in this actual story. So administration-wise, what is Darkwatch? Well, I think we need to get something out of the way right now. This is the elephant in the room. We just need to talk about it. First of all, hold on. Woo, world's squeakiest chair needed to shift. Let's put the cover up on a split screen over here and just take a moment and look at this thing. And let's just label this as what it is. This is clearly bait to get certain people to buy this issue. All right? Let's just call it as it is and just say, yes, we need to acknowledge that sometimes in magazines and print and what have you, certain things are drawn in a certain way. This is definitely one of them. And I'm not going to go any further down that road. I'm just labeling it and getting it out of the way in the video now. Consider it set aside. Now let's talk about Darkwatch. Okay, what is Darkwatch? Well, Darkwatch is actually a pretty cool concept, and it's a video game. So let's walk through this and how it happened and why it happened. The concept in the video game here is that you've got vampires and fighting cowboys. That's it. And there's a secret organization that's running in the background that's been around since Roman times that's helping these people fight vampires, which is really, really cool. And you think about it, you think, okay, that's like cowboys versus aliens type thing. It's just a really neat melding. You throw Harrison Ford in it, you got one heck of a good movie. Here you've got this, though, in a video game. So this was originally developed back in the day, you're talking about the early 2000s, by a development company called Sammy Studios. And they were working on this, and what happened was they were getting close to their release date. There was a change in ownership. And as a result of the change in ownership, the release date got pushed back. Now, I don't know when the original release date was set for, but I know it was sometime before when it was actually released. This was actually released in August of 2005. And when it came out, it was released on both Xbox and, I believe, PlayStation 2. And it's an overall story that a fair number of people bought into, and people enjoyed it. It takes place in, 1876 in the Arizona Territory mostly. And, all these right triggers are getting hit here that would make people buy into this. And it was set up really to be a franchise. There was intention here for them to be making a sequel game. There were apparently movie rights at some point in time, but unfortunately I think because of some movie rights schlaflazzle, they just never came about. Bingity bangity boomity, they just got parked forever. And now we're looking at this thing retrospectively saying, okay, it's a single item game, came out then, and then really nothing came after that. But there are some interesting things that came out at the same time. This issue of Heavy Metal is exactly one of those things. Now, this Heavy Metal issue is dated to July of 2005, and it's got Darkwatch on it. And really, I wouldn't have gone this far down this road in a video for you guys unless I got wind of something that was weird. So, I'm going to read for you a little bit of a blurb here from the publisher that's at the front of this particular month's issue. And yes, I've curled the copy around here, and I know comic collectors out there right now are cringing. They're probably getting their pitchforks and their what are those things? Torches ready, and they're going to come and get me. It's okay. It's okay. I've got a better copy that I'm saving. This is just my reader copy. All right, so letter from the editor. Here we go. This month is a fun issue all over, but I always say that, don't I? You might do. I didn't read the issue before this one. We tried something different with the feature story. We were working with a video game company, Sammy Studios, that created a video game called Darkwatch. We were going to tie in the release of this issue with the release of the game, which is a killer game, by the way. But the company sold at the last minute and the game's release was pushed back a bit, but we still wanted to run the story because it's so cool. Some of the main characters, sexy babes of course, from the game are on the cover. Cool beans. Okay, well, a couple things here. A, 2 points for you for the use of the term cool beans. I don't see that often, so when I do catch it, I'm going to reward you on that one. Sexy babes on the cover? Yes, we already discussed that. And finally, it got pushed back a bit and we want to run this because it's so cool. No. Okay, here's the thing. And this is me with my critical conspiracy hat going on now, saying, I'm pretty sure it takes time to make magazine content and comic content. It takes writers, it takes artists, it takes editors, it takes revisions, a lot of going back and forth, a lot of people involved, and a lot of moving parts. I don't know when the original publishing date for this particular video game was supposed to be. We know it came out in August. We know this magazine was dated to July. I find it hard to believe that the choice was made to still run this just because it was a cool story. No. I believe what probably happened here is suddenly the video game got pushed back because you partnered with a company that you don't have common ownership with. This one changed its trajectory, we'll call it that. And then you got stuck with it and said, well, I'm really over a barrel now. I'm just going to put a positive face on this one and publish it anyways. That could just be me being completely too conspiracy-minded and too cynical, but I'm willing to bet probably that's what actually occurred here. Now, am I being critical and negative about that? No, I don't care. Listen, when you get life serving you lemons, you gotta make lemonade, boy, and you did here, and I'm happy with this. What happened in this comic, though? Let's share this with you guys out there who might have never seen this before, and I'm gonna have images go up along the way here. Effectively, this story is set to be a prequel to the Darkwatch video game. So if you're a player of this game, you know this game, and you've said to yourself, okay, well, how is it this guy was robbing this train? Well, the main character of the game, this Jericho guy, got there, and he's there for a reason. It's because this prequel story, which was written by the original writers of the video game, led up to it. This introduced us as the readers to the characters of Cassidy and Tala, which are secondary characters, I imagine, in the video game, that are there to support Jericho as he goes through his adventures. As, well, he's trying to not be a vampire. Yeah, we'll call it that. Play the game, or read up on it if you really want to. I haven't played the game, I'm just going with what I read. You see these two characters here, though, and you get a lot of background between these two, and you actually see a lot of really, what I'm going to say is blatant character development, in that they're saying these two have to work together but don't like one another, and it also leads to why Jericho is there later on. It's a pretty interesting story, and I gotta tell you, knowing where the video game starts, just because I've researched it, this actually would help a player of the game and go, oh, okay. So, and it's kind of funny that, you know, this is July, the game came out in August. Listen, you've got a 1 month delay there. Who cares? It still works, and sure, they didn't come out in the same month, but at the end of the day, this story does help that release. Now, when you're looking through this one, and I'm going to throw out one critical point here, and I'm not being critical in a negative way, I'm just saying this is something I've observed, so be aware of it. I believe the art choice in here was specific to the game. Bear in mind, this was meant to be paired with the launch of a video game. With the launch of a video game, obviously it's a video game. And guess what? It's computer animation. When you look at the art in here and you're reading through this particular issue, some of the images that you're going to see going past you right now are going to show you, I'm pretty sure this is all CGI art. I'm not saying there's anything the matter with that. I'm not saying it's bad. Digital art definitely has its place, and I think the choice of artistic style in this and making sure this was done in a way that mirrors well to a video game was well done. Darkwatch sounds pretty cool. I gotta say, it's one of these things now that I've gone through this and I've read this prequel and I've read more about it, and I already knew what the overall premise was. I'm now kind of more interested in it. It's unfortunate that, I mean, if there was a movie that was going to come out about this, that it just never happened. That nobody ever bothered to make any other IP comics or stories that came off of this. Maybe they did. There's some fan magazines or something out there, but I haven't heard of them and I haven't found them through a quick search online. So maybe this is something where people should go back and revisit this. Kind of a cool thing. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's our Darkwatch content. Our Darkwatch content for this particular video. I want to share with you something else that I found in here that really just... Okay, now we know I bought this book specifically for the Darkwatch content. We've already talked about that. But the funny part is when you pick up an anthology magazine, you never really know what the other things are in here that you're going to find. This one had a lot of really interesting things, some of which I'm going to be able to discuss on YouTube, and some of which clearly I'm not. But let's go through one of the things here that really just blew my mind. And that is a feature in here that's really put into an artist that we've talked about a lot on this channel, that I only discovered within the last couple of years, and that's Lucio Parrillo. Now, Lucio Parrillo is a wonderful canvas and paint artist. He does beautiful, beautiful cover work. Now, a lot of his work has been picked up by specific companies, which has kind of drawn his fandom in a certain direction. But if you look at the core amount of his work, though, it's all over the map. We've opened mystery boxes on this channel where I bought them directly from him, where we've got signed books in, and you see the wide swath of the artistic, well, spread that he does. He goes from Marvel to DC to Dynamite. He's all over the place. And he's really picking up work wherever we can get it, which I truly respect as an artist. But what really impresses me is the way he does his art. He's able to create these wonderful scenes with a sheen to them that adds a certain amount of reality that I just can't grasp. I'm not an artistic guy by any means, but I can tell you when I look at this, I know what I like. I like this. What surprises me though is here I've got this Heavy Metal magazine from 2005, which has a couple page feature spread just talking about him and what he does. And I'm putting the images up here as we go because I want you guys to see what's in here. And it really surprises me because this is 2005. Like, I'm going to call this very clearly. That's at least 15 years before I ever discovered this guy. And here's Heavy Metal as a magazine that's out there constantly pushing boundaries, already featuring this guy this far ahead. Okay, that aged well. Well done, Heavy Metal. 2 points for you. Alright, let's get over to the camera and get into the wrap-up on this bad boy, shall we? But first of all, before we get into that, let's put down the coffee. Because I can tell you, I talk with my hands. And if I'm talking with my hands doing this, there's got to be coffee everywhere. Let's not do that. So here's the deal. Let's talk through the two things that we dove into in this video. The first one was Darkwatch. That's just darn cool. I, as a reader, and even though I'm going to freely admit I've never played this video game, I've always been interested in the content. I'm so glad that I read that. Now if I ever do want to pick up that video game, I know what the kickoff point is. I know the context. I know who these characters are. It gives you more background that maybe you're not getting when you're just, pounding through all of those cutscenes that are stuck into a video game. Because I'm sure that's probably where the actual game editors stuck them in when they made that game. Could be wrong, but that's just me saying, I'm pretty sure that's probably what happened. Second thing in here that we do want to talk about, though, is really the strength of an anthology magazine. You never know what you're going to get when you pick up an anthology magazine. And I will warn people about this now. When you pick up an anthology magazine from a company that's known for pushing boundaries, you need to be prepared for what's going to be in there. Now, I know that sounds somewhat, watch it. Hold on, no. Hear me out on this one. There is one story in here that was by Arthur Sudum that I wanted to cover for this video, but unfortunately because of the content, I can't. It doesn't fit with this media. I'm not saying it's a terrible story. I thought it was actually a rather clever one. But unfortunately, I can't discuss it. And it's because it's from a magazine that is pushing boundaries. This is something I've discussed on numerous occasions on this channel with other members of the Angry Mob, where I've talked about the very issue that I view Heavy Metal really as a magazine that makes you force yourself to say, wait, am I comfortable with this? Constantly when you're reading through the material, which I view as a growth opportunity. When you're reading something and you say, not too sure how I feel about this. Then you reflect on it, you say, it really makes you start to think holistically and makes you step back and go, well, what is my actual issue with this? And makes you question the stance you have, because we can only learn and grow by questioning. Now, I know that's going to sort of up here, and I know a lot of people are looking at Heavy Metal magazine as down here, but trust me, there are things in here, in every issue, that'll make you go, ooh, and then you have to say to yourself, well, what happened there? Interesting, there are actually 2 stories in this one which made me go, ooh, and I'll tell you this much, I was not pleased at my first take on it, and I had to step back and go, okay, all right, calm down, Tennessee, calm down, ask yourself, where's this coming from, where are you coming from, what's the middle ground, and then really rethink your position. At the end of the day, I'm still sticking with my position, but it was enough to make me think about that. If you're going to go out and pick up old issues of Heavy Metal magazine, what my warning to you is now, be prepared to potentially have to do that, because you might run into things in here that make you go, ooh, and, well, you may still go, ooh, at the end of the day, but at least you had the opportunity to think about it while you were going. This was a cool one, I gotta tell you. I enjoyed reading through this one, and I enjoyed, even though I did get those little ooh moments, the overall positive experience that came out of the anthology as a whole. Now, I'm going to do another one of these because I found something else in another one of these older magazines that I do want to go through in one of these videos. So that'll be mixed in later on. Yeah, we'll do that then. Everybody, that's our video for this week. It's a quick one. It was just a throw in for something that I thought was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next video.